the next is the related studies.
This part consists of previous studies related to the current study and stated how does the inflation affects the vendors' life in local market. Researchers include this study to determine the similarities of previous studies to the present.
The following slide that will be presented in this program will be the related studies of our conducted research, which is consists of previous studies that related to our studies, which is inflation in the local market. So we come up with the research of included the studies and determine the similarities of the previous studies or the other researchers to our present studies. Foreign. Investor Words 2015 stated that inflation is the increase in the general prices level of goods and services in the economy, normally caused by excess supplies of money, and when the cost of product, goods, and services goes up, the purchasing power of dollar will increase. So, as can we see nowadays, inflation, if the product that we buy or in a sari-sari store is increased, the dollar or in the other in the economy will also increase. So if the dollar will decrease, the product that we buy or we sell will decrease.
According to Cindy Wang, inflation has always been a core issue of economic research, and there are many economic research. Achievements is built in recent years. Global inflation has intensified, and many scholars focus on research in this field again, providing certain reference value for countries around the world to formulate corresponding macro policies.
So even in the past years, many researchers gathered about the studies of inflation, especially to the local vendors. But this study is still in the process, which is why we, the researcher or the mere researcher, wants to help or seek some probably answers about these studies. So according to Cindy Wang, inflation has always been the core issues of economic research, and there are many academic research achievements in this field. In recent years, global inflation has intensified, and many scholars focus on research in the field, again providing certain references values. So as for us, we want to also seek and gather information about this study so that many of other or the future researchers will have an idea or will have possible answers for their studies, which is for our similarities of inflation. Local. According to Lance Spencer, 2022 studied on consumers have all felt the pinch of inflation. Most consumers have already felt the recent food price hikes, eating into their lunch money and striking their pantries. But for wet market vendors, inflation threatens the entire livelihood. Although the economy has since opened up, vendors not content with the problems of food inflation, food prices have generally gone up at 9.8% since last year's. So even in our generation, we already face inflation, and it will become grower if our government will not hear it. So even in the last studies of other researcher or the mere researcher, inflation is always striking, not in also in consumer or other people, but also in the livelihood of every people, especially to the vendors in the local market. The next slide is the theoretical framework.
This study adopted the theory of demand pull effect, cost push effect, the structural theory of inflation. The researchers discussed the importance of each mode in the study. Theoretical framework is based on an existing theory and a field of inquiry that is related in or reflects the hypothesis of the study. Okay, so theoretical framework. So in our study, we adopted the theory of inflation. The first is built-in inflation, demand pull effect, cost push effect, the structural theory of inflation. So this is the four theory that we adopted in our studies, or in our study. So in here, researchers discuss the importance of each code in the study. Theoretical framework